Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Bricktown Urban Design Committee meeting set for November 12th, 2015. Today we only have about an hour to have a quorum up here, so when you guys are presenting, please make it as quick as you can so that we can have a quorum. So we'll start out with the roll call.
Sandino Thompson, Omar Curry,
Present.
Jonathan Dotson,
Present.
Mark Crittenbrink, and Tom Wilson.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 14, 2015 meeting?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Any abstains? No. Any noes? No. Let's vote.
In favor, aye.
In favor, aye.
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 Aye. For staff, are there any cases withdrawn from today's meeting? None?
No.
Are there any continuance requests for today's meeting?
No.
All right, so let's move on to item number 5, consent docket. Item BCA-15-00029 at 308 Flaming Lips Alley.
Move approval.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Cases for individual consideration. 6A, item number BCA-15-00021 at 25 South Oklahoma Avenue. Staff?
Yeah, this item was continued from your meeting on October 14th, 2015. This is for the ACM UCO building at 25 South Oklahoma Avenue on the north side of the canal, west of Oklahoma Avenue. You may recall from the last meeting on October 14th that the applicant had chosen to present a particular style of window opening for the 3 sides of this building that they're going to replace the windows on. During that meeting, the discussion focused on whether or not the style chosen was appropriate to the current style or to perhaps try and model the original historical style of the windows that were on that building. As a consequence, the applicant has come back to you with a series of 4 options. The first 2 are basically variations on the chosen option that they have for you that reflect a more contemporary style of window. Option 2 is a style that is more duplicative of what's on the building today, and they've provided some photos to go along with that option so you can compare those to their proposed option 2. And then following along with that, option 3 provides some photographs of the original windows that were on the building along with their proposal to try and match that style of window opening. Now, I did mention there are 4. The first 2 are both, it's 1A and 1B, and again, they're a more modern style of aluminum frame storefront window glass. So that completes our presentation. The applicant's prepared to make a presentation as well.
Thank you, everybody. What we did
sorry, can you please state your name?
I'm sorry, my name is Dan Crossman. I'm with KBR. I'm here representing UCO. What we did on the second option that we presented to you today, not 1A or 1B, but option number 2, we took a look at the existing building and tried to find something that would come much closer to mimicking what the building has currently. We took a look at the window systems and we realized these windows are actually just standard size frame openings, standard size window frames that were framed to fit within varying window sizes. As a result, we have trim boards that run vertically on this building that vary anywhere from 4.5 inches to 8 inches wide. What we were looking at doing with option number 2 is come in and utilize a 4-inch white metal system. The reason we're looking at using 4-inch white metal is as opposed to maybe going like a 6-inch. If we get beyond that point of 4-inch, we have to utilize a piece of brake metal on the face edge, at which point we have to run a joint sealant down across that system. that joint sealant in time will start to yellow and will collect dirt, and we'll end up having brown streaks running up and down all of our metal systems. So that's why we looked at a 4-inch system. And what it does too, it picks up on that horizontal member that is reflective of the existing windows, and it has a solid white transom on the header, as is there currently. On option number 3, what we proposed was something similar to what option 2 is, but with mutton bars inside of the E-glass panels to create that look of the 12-inch window panes, roughly 12-inch window panes that were there previously. We did not specify a width on this metal because it's hard for us to determine what those vertical members were. We don't know if they were 2-inch, if they were 4-inch, what they were, so we were kind of leaving that open if you all had a preference on the option number 3, what size metal we would have for the vertical support system. I like them all.
Michael, was there an option 4? You said there was 4 options?
Yeah, the first are 1A and 1B.
1B, okay. Any discussion?
The difference between 1A and 1B is that one has a solid header and the other has transom windows.
And again, it showed the 2-inch metals. We were looking at something that we found to be fairly normal on a lot of renovations, first floor level in that area. It also mimicked the storefront system that was installed on this building in the basement level.
What were you proposing for option 3? What is that material that's on the header?
That is going to be a white brake metal panel that will fill that area in. So we'll have the complete representation of the existing header pieces there currently.
Now I'm sorry, go ahead. Can you back up 1 second? This particular window that we're looking at, that's on the 2nd and 3rd levels. What were you proposing on the ground level where we have the taller windows with the wider transom?
Well, there is a little detail shown where right here where we'd have multiple panels. And this, again, would go in an area that originally was a loading dock doorway. If this is window openings that are to be done once these tenants move out. We only showed them on this drawing so they would not have to come back for approval to change out those windows once the tenants do vacate. If it was need be, they could come back. These could be pulled off, and we could come back and represent these at the proper time with maybe a spandrel panel or something below to kind of fill that in. Like I say, right now they have wood panels on the bottom side, but these were loading dock doors at one time.
Michael, can you go back to that one, the previous one? Okay.
So this would be what your standard look would be on all 4 floors, with exception to the 4th floor on the north side, and that's because it does not have an archway. It just has a flat header.
Sure. Any discussion?
My preference is staying with the representation of the historic option, so I would go with option 3.
Is that a recommendation, or is that a?
Not yet.
Okay.
From your standpoint, it doesn't make any difference which of these options you...
It does not make a difference which direction you all prefer to go. We're just pleading with an approval on a system so we begin replacing these windows. As I said last month, this building floods in areas every time it rains. So they are desperate to get these windows replaced.
So I have one other question for you. We are only addressing windows. I mean, there's lots of other detail in here. We aren't addressing any of that, just the replacement of the windows themselves.
Details as far as?
Well, there's just a lot of information on here that we haven't addressed, coiling doors, brick, painting, a lot.
All the doors are going to remain, the coiling doors are going to remain in place. The university is going to come back and repaint it, not right now, they'll wait till next year, but they do plan to repaint the building. In fact, one of the things I have to look at with them, I'm sure I'll be in front of you again fairly soon about, is possibly replacing the gutters and downspouts on the building.
So if we were to make a motion to approve this, replacing windows only, is that going to satisfy your...
That is correct. This is just replacing the glazing system in the building. This has nothing to do with any of the finishes on the building, repairs to any woodwork, replacement of any other element of the facade, other than replacing the windows. And, of course, the doors would go out with it and be replaced with this same type of doors that we have in this mills.
Mr. Chairman, then the answer to your question is yes.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept option 3 for replacement of the windows for the application.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
you very much. Thank you. All right, moving to 6B, case number BCA-15-00025 at 115 East Sheridan Avenue.
Yes, this item was also continued from your meeting on October 14th. At that meeting, we had, I guess, a lack of adequate photo simulation of the colors that would be painted on the building that would show the black that was requested to be retained that is already there. In this packet you received, in the hard copy you received 2 photo sims, one of which has kind of a moderate brown color that we thought was replicating the original color of the building, and then another one that looked quite orange. On Tuesday, you received an email that had 2 replacement photo simulations that were tied directly to the color chips that the applicant proposed to us and we mentioned in the staff report. And those photo sims you received on Tuesday electronically, and I can pass them out here for you as well with the color chips, are a more accurate representation of what the applicant's proposing to do. I do want to point out that, in our opinion, neither of the colors that you received in the version you got on Tuesday is a match for what used to be there on the front of the building. And therefore, and again, I want to point out that the applicant's only proposing to paint the front of the building and not the side, the east side. So you have, if you go with the colors that were sent to you on Tuesday, they would not match the east side of the building. So let me pass out to you the color chips and the hard copies of the photo sims you received on Tuesday. Should be pointed out that the guidelines for Bricktown do talk about using medium to dark colors of red, so either of these colors that were proposed in the latest version that you received on Tuesday do comply with the guidelines that pertains to paint in Bricktown, so it's kind of your call as to whether or not you think the colors are chosen are appropriate or not.
Any discussion?
The applicant here.
I'm Bobby Span. I'm with Club 115.
I do have a comment. I try not to address aesthetics. I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for us to be second-guessing what you're doing. And I'm going to break that rule in this particular case. I certainly appreciate the fact that you're going back to a red color, and I'm less concerned about what that color is. Okay. I don't care for the black header at the top of the building and two vertical elements. The building is not particularly an attractive building, Bricktown. I don't think it's really historic in any particular sense. And I think you've addressed, with the canopies and the black trim at the base, I think you've brought attention to the building. To the establishment that's in it. I don't think the verticals and the horizontal at the top are necessary, and I, for one, would not vote for it if that continued to be there.
Okay.
So I don't know that you need my vote, but in the event that that's the case, I would prefer to see those
Okay.
painted the same color as the field.
Okay. I bought the business from the guy that painted it, so I didn't obviously do it. What I was proposing is to change it to where I thought it looked best. I appreciate your opinion, but I really do think the black looks good. If you maybe slide back to where the paint was just all one color, it looks really bland. And I don't have a problem going back to that. I really don't. But it has a zero character at all. But like I said, I don't have a problem going back to that. I'm just trying to rectify it, beautify the building in a way that I think that might be right. As far as the colors go, I spent 2 hours trying to match that color, but it's like so faded, you know. I mean, it's really bad. So as far as trying to pick a perfect match, I couldn't do it. So I got some colors that I thought would look good, adding to the fact that in my personal opinion, the black upper and lower, and I don't really even care about the verticals. That doesn't matter to me when I'm painting it. If I'm going to spray it, it'd be easier just to spray over them, but it does look okay. So obviously, I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. You know, I just tried to pick colors that I thought that would actually look good on the building. So.
They're irrelevant at this point, but I tend to agree with Tom. I don't particularly care for the verticals. I do like the black base at the bottom, and I'm not. I don't have an opinion on the top piece yet, but I think just the black base and what you've done with the awnings gives it a better look than what it was before.
Sure.
To clarify my position, I'm fine with black base.
Okay.
Do you guys have a color that you're more comfortable with?
I'm fine with the colors, and I'm perfectly fine with leaving that up to staff too.
Okay.
Same here.
I make a motion then that we vote to, what am I motioning? That we accept or we move forward without, the top needs to be painted and the two vertical lines need to be painted. The base can be left as is. And then paint color would be left up to staff. You comfortable with that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. No opposition.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to case number BCA-15-00026 at 411 East Sheridan.
This item, I did misspeak earlier in the agenda when there was a request about the continuance items. The applicant on this application has requested a continuance for this item.
Okay.
Can I make an explanation on that? Scott Dedman with ADG. We had a call from our client early this week, and they want to, in discussions with the brand on the AC, they want to look at some redesign on that project. So we're going to work on some redesign, bring that back to you guys in December as informational on that. I think the one thing that does, it helps us to resolve some issues that we had with the trash enclosures. I think we can improve upon that trash enclosure situation once we do that. The next case is the Hyatt Place. We've been presenting those kind of as one project since they're basically on the same site. We would like, if possible, with the quorum today, we would like to get approval or ask for approval on the Hyatt, but we will present that and then come back with the AC informational in December, and then in January look to get an approval on that.
Okay, so case number BCA-15-00026 has been continued.
You want to point out that this is a 60-day continuance for this item?
60-day continuance?
Yes.
So we won't hear it?
That's what the applicants requested. They do want to come back informally with a presentation for you in December.
Okay.
But they will not be ready with actual drawings for action at the December meeting. But they do feel they'll be ready for the January meeting.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I motion that we continue this 60 days.
I second.
It's better to say the January meeting.
Sorry, January meeting.
I second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Please record my vote as an abstention, please.
Motion passes. Moving on to case number BCA-15-00027 at 20 Russell and Perry Avenue.
Yes, this is a case that is a companion to the last case, and they share the same site at the northeast corner of East Sheridan and Russell M. Perry Avenue. The site is adjacent to the west end of the Steelyard Apartment Project and cat-a-corner from the Hilton Garden Inn and Homewood Suites Hotel. We prepared a staff report that recommended approval of the project. There is, I guess, some concern with the amount of EFS that's been proposed. Currently, our guidelines do not have a set limit or minimum or maximum for the amount of EFS being used. We did guesstimate in our staff report that it's about 45%. We weren't able to come to a conclusion on that actual amount with the applicant during our rush to prepare the staff report. But we did feel that there was quite a bit of EFS on the fronts of the building, the exposed sides of the building, particularly towards Russell Perry and looking north towards the residential projects at the Hill. So we raised that as an issue for your consideration, and we're prepared to respond to any questions you may have.
Mr. Chairman, by way of disclosure, the firm that's representing the owner is ADG, which is my firm, as you know. I'm therefore not going to be involved in any discussion nor in the voting of the project. I will be abstaining from the vote.
Okay. Noted. Is the applicant here?
J.C. Witcher with ADG. We have some materials that I'd like to pass out, if I may. There's probably 8 copies here. I want to save those for the other folks.
You guys need to see these.
So in terms of presenting the project, I know that this has been before you as an informational item before, and in your packet that staff prepared, if I could just walk through the site plan with you just quickly. Scott mentioned on the last item that what's shown on this site plan is lease space, and the AC Hotel is being modified right now. So if we can concentrate on what Hyatt Place and the street along Russell and Perry and this fire lane that's in the Steelyard development, that's the site that we're looking at. Obviously, changes to the AC will affect this courtyard space, so we're not totally determined on that, but the ambiance, I guess you could say, of this courtyard space will remain the same, similar. But the streetscape elements, as shown in the site plan, are consistent with that's what we're asking for approval for. Taking you again still in the staff packet, the transformer, the trash enclosure stuff will be part of the modification that we work on in the AC, and so that element, there is a component of the Hyatt that has a trash enclosure as part of it, and that may be something that we need to bring back to you for additional or administrative approval, but that's, other than that, the elevations will be as we're presenting today. On the floor plan, the first floor plan, I know in the informational, you were presented with these spaces, the lobby, the meeting rooms along Russell and Perry, and then some of the staff areas, and then guest units along that fire lane. That stuff remains the same as you've seen before. The other floor plans are consistent with what you've seen before and in the staff packet, so if you have questions about those, I'll certainly answer them. What I think you guys are most interested in are the elevations. In the handout packet that I presented, there's a perspective on the cover that shows you the orientation or where different materials are being used. We have, since the last time that you saw this in the informational, we have revised the canopy, the entry canopy, and we have we've increased the amount of brick, and there were at some point some kind of false window elements indicated, and those have been removed in favor of just a solid brick wall with the joints, control joints. There's a diagram, an elevation diagram on the next page that has little insets of colors. These are Hyatt Place standard colors and standard brick, and there's materials. I'll go through these, just starting at the upper left. That color, the bone white, is an ephes to match this paint color. Moving across the top, the laminators incorporated is a metal panel, and I've got some real samples to show you, to hand around in a moment. That's an actual metal panel. And then the other paint color on the right side of that page is, again, it's an ephes with color to match that paint color. Moving across the bottom from left to right is the brick color. Again, that's a Hyatt Place standard brick. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get a real sample to us in time, but in the packet that I handed out, there's a good photographic representation. I have the Drive It Reflect It Tin Man, again, is one of their standard colors, and I have a sample that I can show you in a moment. And then finally, the laminators metal panel. It's a darker gray color for the stair element. And just to the left of the entry canopy, where it says Hyatt Place, we're using that darker metal color in that place too. So I will bring these samples up, if you don't mind, and just let you guys pass them amongst yourselves. These are the things that are... Thanks. So it's an interesting, from these standards, the two metal panel colors are ADG's contribution to the color palette. The Drive It sample is from Hyatt's standard requirements. The middle on the stripe, Omar, that middle roughest texture, what Drive-It calls sandblast, is what Hyatt has as a standard. It works really well with our metal panel colors, for what that's worth. And if we went ahead and brought these color chips so that you could compare how the printed color samples that I put in that handout packet are to the real thing, if you'd like to see those. So I should probably hush up and let you guys ask questions. Thanks.
JC, the cast stone, is that the treatments above and below the windows and the cornice above the windows?
That will be
cast
one of the
stone?
Drive-It colors.
Is it cast stone or is it?
No, it's a Drive-It.
Drive-It as well?
Yeah.
And will it be that off-white, or is it one of these colors that we have here?
It's one of the colors. It's the bone white.
Okay.
I drive it to match that bone white color.
Yeah.
You said brick was added. I could go back and look at the last report, but how did you guys figure out where?
Jonathan, the brick that we took I'm looking at this one right now. So in that, I guess I can hold that up. We extended this up farther. We brought some more brick into this elevation, and the last thing that you saw also had these kind of false window things, and so that's where we added the brick. And Scott pointed out to me that there's a couple of bands, reminded me there's a couple of bands, and these are brick also. They're a light-colored brick.
The entry canopy, is that just all steel painted to match one of these colors?
It's aluminum and glass.
Okay.
This is actually from the Hyatt prototype canopy.
Did staff have any concerns about the fact that, or the precedent that we would set from a design standpoint with the lack of brick? Are you guys comfortable with that, or?
Well, I mean, I think the precedent's already been set with a couple of buildings that are on the south side of Sheridan, catty-corner from this site. That's not to say that we should follow that precedent.
Right.
And that's why we raised the concern in the report. I think our estimate of 45% in the staff report is probably high based on what I'm seeing right now. But I'd say there's still probably maybe 20% or 25% on the west elevation. We'd have to go through those calculations, and I don't know what the acceptable number is one way or the other anyway, because there's no guideline for it. But
I haven't done the calculation either, but I guess that Michael's pretty close to right at 20 or 25%. But I think the articulation of the elevation, that unlike some other examples in Bricktown where there's a constant flat line and above that it's all Drive-It, I think the articulation of materials helps soften that presence of the EFS material.
JC, I really like the articulation that you just talked about. I like the differences in heights and where your eye is not drawn to one single line that's flat and then anything above that. My biggest concern is the sill and the headers of the windows. You mentioned that these would be EFS, and then there is a lighter buff brick or whatever color brick, a lighter brick that's banding along the windows and on the top. Would it be possible to move that or change those elements to that color brick rather than...
Well, from a detailing standpoint, that'd probably make my life easier, so I think that we can certainly look into that, make sure that that's fine with my client, but I think we could, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to proceed with that.
Any additional comments?
What are your thoughts?
That was my only concern. I don't like EFS that low, but if it's something harder like brick or stone, it makes a big difference.
So motion to approve contingent upon that being changed, EFS or stone, is that what you'd like to see? Okay. Well, I motion then that we vote to approve pending this EFS around the windows. And what about the detailing? Is this brick right here? Is he saying that's brick?
No, he's saying that's actually an EFS crown.
Okay. So do you want the crown to be, no? Okay.
Doesn't.
Just the windows? Okay. For that to be brick or stone?
Brick.
Okay.
Jonathan, I like that flexibility in the motion, that it doesn't have to be brick if I can get my
Okay with
client
either one?
the cast stone.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. I'll clarify. I motion then to approve, I motion that we approve this with the window, the trim being either brick or stone.
I second that. I'm assuming I can say. All in favor, say aye.
I do want to point out one thing before you vote on the motion. Both the
They've been tested.
I think we didn't have a quorum before.
I wanted to make sure that ADG didn't somehow just shut that off. So.
Thank you. Who did that?
as I was about to say,
We haven't voted
No,
yet.
no, Michael has a
I
comment.
did want to point out that both the west elevation and the floor plan do depict a trash enclosure that faces Russell M. Perry in this version of the plan, and as Mr. Witcher pointed out, that may or may not be a fixture that changes when they redesign the adjacent hotel facility. So I'm not sure how you want to handle that in the motion, but
If I could ask
we
Scott,
can certainly approve this and then do an administrative approval to remove that element from the elevation and the floor plan at some later date.
I'd like to ask Scott to, because they're working on that design, he can give us a little more, flesh out the direction we're going and what we're hoping to accomplish with that.
Okay.
Might be helpful to your...
Michael, can you go back to that site plan, please?
Here you see it in the lower right on the west elevation, and it's in front of a window. It's a break room, I believe. So go to the first floor plan, and it's right in this location here, but not really shown. But then when you go to the site plan, you can see it here, and it's paired up with what was to be a trash enclosure for the restaurant facility. That's going to be going away, as I understand. So
what's going to happen, it appears, and this is still a little premature because we're still working on the design, but the footprint of the AC is going to become a little bit more compact and allow us to either relocate the trash enclosures into a more sort of inconspicuous space around the corner, or possibly even into the service drive, but we don't have that completely developed yet. But I think if we could get a staff approval on the Hyatt, and then you'll have the opportunity to see it on the AC as well when we present that. So I think that would be what Michael's suggesting would be fine with us.
When you said the service drive, are you talking about the
drive in the back? Yes, right. Yeah. Ideally, that's where we would like to get all of them. It's just working out the functional issues with the brands. But part of what's changing is some of the functions on that ground floor are going away, and so it's not going to be as critical that the trash be in that exact proximity.
So are you saying that on the Hyatt, the trash would remain there, the enclosure, and then on the other one?
No, ideally, we're going to have a little bit of space that we can relocate the Hyatts as well.
As well? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that will be presented in 60 days?
We'll present that with the AC, and I mean, we'll present that to Michael as an administrative, but we'll also show that when we present the AC as well. Does that work okay?
Michael, are you asking us to approve this based on what we see and then?
yeah, we believe that if they are able to successfully relocate that trash enclosure, we would be able to handle that as a revision to this approval administratively.
Okay. Do we need to do that as a motion?
No, but I'll point out that, well, we'll need to restate the motion, obviously, but if you are approving, if you're approving it today, you're approving that trash enclosure is there. It's your understanding that it may change, but when you approve it, you are approving it there.
I think it's my preference that it moves. I'm assuming it's...
If you want to condition your approval that it move, that's another.
Do we want to...
If you condition it, then it's not approved, right?
No, it's approved with it could be approved with the condition that it be moved, or approved that
we're okay with that.
The removal, that it be relocated and approved by staff.
Okay.
We're okay if you require it to be relocated.
Okay. So I motion that we approve this pending the relocation of the dumpster enclosure to be approved by staff, and that the trim around the windows be changed to either brick or stone.
I second that motion. All in favor say aye.
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 Please record my vote as an abstention.
Motion passes. Item number 6E, case number BCA-15-00030 at 21 South Joe Carter Avenue, 126 East Sheridan Avenue, 201 Johnny Bench Drive, 5 East Reno Avenue, and 6 East Reno Avenue, or East Sheridan Avenue, sorry.
This is a proposal that's associated with the MAPS 3 modern streetcar facility that has a route.
Michael, sorry, no one's here to speak about the streetcar, are they? The streetcar team is not here, so I would ask that we move it to December meeting.
Continues.
I don't feel very comfortable hearing it without them here. I've emailed them to see if anyone's coming, so maybe we could move on to the next case.
For the sake of time, let's move on.
And if they come, we'll jump back to it.
Do we need a motion to continue it?
Just to move it to the end of the
End of-
agenda.
I motion we move it to December?
The end of the agenda.
End of today's agenda.
I motion that we move to the end of today's agenda.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Please record my vote as an abstention.
All right, other businesses. Item 7A, case number SPUD-00856 at 7 South Mickey Mantle Drive.
This is, I think, the third in a series of spuds that you will continue to see in the Bricktown area as a means to legitimize and allow the placement of commercial antennas on buildings in the Bricktown area. Currently, the way the Bricktown district is set up, commercial antennas are not listed as a permitted use. So wherever they are proposed, the applicant is required to rezone the property through a SPUD. And I think we've approved 2 of these already. And it's just basically a measure, a stopgap measure to allow them to proceed as we wait for the code to be changed to add commercial antennas as a permitted use. So prepared to respond to any questions the committee may have.
These are the same ones that we've approved for the cell tower, not cell towers.
We
but
approved them for a couple of addresses up on East Main and also for a building on the canal at the east side of Oklahoma.
No question.
I motion that we approve this.
Second.
Do you want to call for any comment from the public? There are people here that wish to speak on it.
If you guys want to talk, come on.
I'm here for the 10 o'clock meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I thought there was somebody, we got contact this morning from a property owner in the area who indicated they were going to be coming, so I wasn't sure who that was.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Thanks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item A, Communications, 8A, Administrative Approval Report, case number BCA-13-00002 at 120 South Lincoln Boulevard.
This is a revision that was proposed to the Staybridge Suites Hotel on the east side of Lincoln, between Reno and Sheridan. It butts up against the back of I-235 in that location. Originally, this facility had a porte-cochere entry facility on the front of the building that had a pitched roof on it, and it was in front of rooms. So the pitched roof would block windows of rooms that were located in that part of the building. And the rest of the building has a flat profile for the roof, and they requested, and we have approved, a revision to the porte-cochere entry canopy to be a flat facility as opposed to a pitched roof.
Is the applicant here?
No, they don't appear because this has already been approved.
Okay. Any motions? No comment?
It's just a report.
I just want to extend the time so that he has to stay. Item number 8B, comments from planning and department staff.
Yeah, the committee workshop should be on your calendars. It's similar to what we did last year at the Cox. You guys were there. You had just been appointed. I hope everybody agrees it was a great time to get more information about your duties. And one exciting thing about this year's is that Board of Adjustment and Planning Commission are going to be there also to help everybody kind of see how they fit into the continuum of what happens. Then the other exciting news is the demolition ordinance was finally approved by City Council, so it'll be effective November 30th. Bricktown doesn't have very many demolitions, thank goodness, but we'll update your handouts and distribute those at the workshop, and that'll be our new criteria going forward.
Comments? At what point do we need to make a motion for that?
Yeah, now would be a good time to continue it to December.
I motion that we continue, what case number was that?
15.
BCA 15-00030.
BCA-15-00030 to the December meeting.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Please record my vote as an abstention.
Motion passes. Our next meeting date is Wednesday, December 9th. All right.
Comments from the committee?
Any comments? I think everybody wants to. Nope. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, guys.